Spring break is about to start for many school kids, even though they're already home from school because of what's going on right now.
Many parents are wondering, how do we celebrate the holidays under our new normal restrictions on travel and gatherings?
So we're calling in parenting expert Dr. Debbie Gilboa, or is Dr. G, as we like to call her, for some help with this question and a few others right now that families are definitely having. And Dr. G, thank you for joining us. We always appreciate it. And I do want to ask first about, this is a hard time on everyone, and families can be under stress. And what signs should you look for to see whether your kids are feeling that stress too?
That's a really good question. So I actually want to remind everybody of something that teachers all know, and that is behavior is communication. So even if you're looking at a child who you feel isn't old enough to verbalize how they're feeling or isn't inclined to tell you how they're doing, they're saying, oh, fine, or it's okay, or no big deal, or not talking to you much about feelings at all. Look at their behavior. You know this, David, right? We know this living with adults, that the way someone behaves often tells you a lot about how they're feeling. So if you see behavior that puzzles you or troubles you, get curious about what are the emotions that are behind it.
And Dr. G, how can children work on overcoming some of the stress that they may be feeling right now?
This is a time filled with lots of uncertainty, and there are some things that we can do as adults to help them feel a little less uncertainty, but we don't have answers to some of the expected questions that kids have. So one of the things that kids can do, that people can do, is focus on what we can control. One of the ways that we build resilience is by acknowledging the feelings that we are having, and then looking for things that we can do something about that feels good to us or feels positive.
Let's talk about the holidays, because the holidays are coming and we're all going to have to celebrate as families, sometimes separately. It's a very different kind of scenario. What sort of suggestions do you have for that?
Well, the first suggestion I have is to please not make excuses for getting together with people outside your household. It is not the right thing to do. Your group should be the people that you live in your home with, and don't extend it beyond that. But virtually, please do extend it beyond that. It might be possible to have people join you for your holiday celebration that wouldn't have, under other circumstances, been able to get into Pittsburgh and sit at the table with you. Well, now you can have anybody at your table who wants to be there, as long as you do it virtually.
That's true. And so how do you explain to your children that their birthday party is canceled and other things that are canceling? How do you convey that?
By not being afraid of their reaction. Our kids count on us to be able to tell them the truth and handle their feelings. That doesn't mean they get to have whatever behavior they want. They can't throw things or hit or do mean or damaging things, but they can have whatever feelings they're having. So we shouldn't lie to our kids, because that makes them feel even more unsettled, and it shoots our credibility as one of the people they can trust in their lives. And I do think it's worth saying, after they have weathered that first storm of their disappointment or their frustration or their sadness or their anger, to say, okay, but it isn't actually that your birthday is canceled, it's that celebrating it is going to look really different. Let's think about what our options are and our choices are for either postponing the in-person celebration that you wanted, or maybe having a different kind of virtual celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology to the rescue sometimes. And what about older kids? Like, maybe you have college-age kids that are back home with you now. They're living with you now. What advice do you have for parents what to tell them, especially if maybe they don't view this as serious as it is?
So it's always tricky to have your now adult kids, at least by age, come home and spend real time with you. In terms of how do you navigate that? They should be contributing to the household and helping out with the chores that need to be done and following the rules of the home. But hopefully they're not acting in such a way that you feel like you have to treat them like they're 14. You want to be able to treat them like the adults that they are. And usually some of the best ways to do that is to have conversations with them when the younger members of your household aren't right there and can't overhear, so that you can speak as different aged adults trying to accomplish the same thing, which is have some peace at home. But I'll tell you what, some of your rules can absolutely be about where that person can go, since they're then coming back into your home, or who they hang out with, or how they behave, because they're quite literally then bringing danger potentially into your home if they're not taking it seriously.
Right. I love that, Dr. G. And so how important is it for kids to keep a schedule with the weeks lingering on here?
Schedules help kids. Look, if putting up a schedule that you constantly refer to, preview, go back to wasn't useful, then every kindergarten teacher in the universe wouldn't do it. But most of them do. So it must work for most kids. I will grant you, I'm no kindergarten teacher, and it can be really hard for the adults to stick to it, to come up with a schedule that even has a chance of working. Plus, kindergarten teachers, their work is teaching. Many of us are also trying to do other work while we're watching this schedule. So, two really important lessons with the schedule. Try having one and adapt it as you go. Have a conversation with yourself, with your kids about what worked and what didn't, and keep changing it until you hit on something that works most of the time.
Thank you so much, Dr. G. We really appreciate it, and we love, especially now, being able to talk to you and get advice. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody, please stay home and stay healthy.
You too. All right.